Welcome to ColumbiaCare Conversations, a video series highlighting different topics in behavioral health and offering helpful tips and resources for mental health and wellness.
Today we're joined by Ashley Samu, who is a residential assistant administrator here at ColumbiaCare Services. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ashley.
Thank you for having me.
So why do you think caregiver mental health is such an important issue?
Caregiver mental health is super important because we are supporting individuals that we believe are going to get better. That's our mission, that we believe people get better. But I think people forget to realize that also includes us. We're people and we get better. But if we are not prioritizing our mental health, we can't improve as people. And I think a big thing is like when you're on an airplane, they tell you, put your own oxygen mask on before you can help someone else put theirs on. So if we are constantly giving and pouring out to others, but we're not helping ourselves, we're not functioning at capacity. You know, we can't fully support others if we're limited. So I think that's a big core issue to why it's important.
Great, thank you for sharing that. And then what are some of the high-risk groups you feel are at risk of experiencing caregiver burnout, in other words?
I think a group that's really high at risk are people that have others that they have to care for outside of work. So whether that's children or if they have parents that they have to take care of, even if it's a pet, that can be really exhausting to provide caregiving all day while you're at work and then come home and you have to provide caregiving. I think anyone who's new to the mental health field, it can experience a lot of burnout because you're experiencing a learning curve. Any students out there that are doing school and work, anyone working multiple jobs, really just anyone who has a lot going on outside of work, which is most of us. So we're all at risk for burnout.
Yeah, that's so true. I used to teach not too long ago, but pretty long ago, for a long, long time. And even for myself, I experienced educator burnout. And that was really something that I kind of had a little bit of guilt about, but it was also a part of who I was and my heart was so into it. And I feel like that's why this topic is really, really important to talk about, because if we can get some tools, if we can understand what the symptoms are, then we can learn how to kind of combat that. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the symptoms that we need to look out for so we can kind of avoid the burnout overall?
Yeah, I think a big one is lack of engagement. If you're showing up and you just your heart isn't in it, you don't want to be there, it's like you're exhausted. That's a big sign. If you are not enjoying the things that you typically enjoy, I think that's another sign. Poor sleep, all these things where you're just not quite feeling like yourself, you're feeling off, can be a sign of burnout for sure.
Yeah, especially not just physically burnt out, but also there's a sense of exhaustion in terms of the emotional impact that burnout can have on you too.
Yeah.
Why do you think caregivers in particular struggle with taking care of their own mental health?
Yeah, I think a lot of people go into caregiving because they care about people and they are givers. They want to support people, they want to see them grow, they want to be of support. And I think a lot of people in caregiving are naturally attuned to others, but sometimes fail to attune to themselves and what their needs are. So they can struggle with boundaries or even identifying like, hey, I'm not doing that great, because they're so focused on what others need. And that's great because we want to support others, but we also need to be able to support ourselves and know what's going on with our body and our mental health. So yeah, I think that's a big thing, is just caregivers care about others and that becomes a barrier.
Yeah, definitely. Each day is going to be a little bit different for a caregiver, and if we're not careful, if we're not mindful, or taking really purposeful steps to be aware of our mental health, it's really easy for us to lose sight of our own mental health because we're giving and giving and giving so much of ourselves. So it's really important to really be insightful in that and take some time to reflect. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What are some of the realistic tools that folks can use in order for us to protect our own mental health?
A big one is like while at work, make sure you're taking your breaks. You know, we have 2 15-minute breaks and a 30-minute lunch break when you're working a full shift. So taking those breaks is super important, even though sometimes I know for me in the moment it feels like, oh, I'll just push through and come back to it. It's really important. Those small breaks really do make a difference in our burnout. I think outside of work, making sure you're prioritizing the things that feel fulfilling to you. You know, like, what are your hobbies? Do you like to be outside? Do you like to read? Is there a show you're really into? Are you doing those things outside of work? because there's life outside of work. There's other things that that fill our cup. So I think that's a big thing. And then, well, who is our support system? I think is another big one. And if you don't feel like you have a support system, that's okay. It's just like a matter of working on that, you know, like getting out in the community, trying new things. And that can really help with building that up so you have things to look forward to outside of your role.
Yeah, I love that. And even with taking breaks at work or, you know, your lunch periods, just taking a few minutes for yourself to go out for a walk, but just making sure that you're taking care of yourself and taking a few minutes out of the day just to relax and really kind of ground yourself is really important for our mental health.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Any advice for somebody who feels like they might be experiencing caregiver burnout?
Yeah. I think a big thing is ask for help. Vulnerability isn't a weakness, and if we are just going through the motions and we're just trying to push through it, that problem's probably not going to go anywhere until we address it. So asking for help, whether that's your family, friends, even at work, like letting your supervisors know, hey, I'm feeling really burnt out. Do you think I could use one of these mental health days coming up, or I need to take some PTO? Can we arrange for that? Like, being vulnerable and letting them know what's going on can go a super long way in being able to get the support that you need. Yeah, and I think the same thing goes for family and friends, letting them know if you have a family member, seeing how you can support them. Like, hey, like, let's go get coffee, let's go do this. Something that's more fun and fulfilling, I think, can go a long way as well.
Yeah, great advice. Being able to make sure to have honest conversations with those around you, especially a supervisor or even your teammates, to really make sure that you have a support system at work, but also at home, having honest conversations with your family members to see if they can kind of help carry some of the burden with you. I think that not only helps with the family dynamic, but it can really help you in feeling supported in what you do on a daily basis. So thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on our next episode. Have a great and wonderful day.